Scan QR code. All right. Or type in the QR code. Yes, excellent. All right. So before we get started, just a quick thank you to Sarah Gibbons for helping us in the chat and keeping us on track and making sure everything ran smoothly today. Thank you so much, Sarah. At the end of the Kahoot game, if you would take a moment and go to the website and give me a review, I would certainly appreciate it. I love the feedback. I will be putting on a second board review for those of you that are not graduating for a while. I'm doing another one in July. It will be a different mock board and different information. So it will not be a repeat of what you're getting today. So if you're still going to be in your program in July, feel free to sign up for that board review as well. This was a ton of fun for me, and I hope you had fun as well. All right, I think it's time to get started. All right, so Sarah, I'm going to turn the music back on, and let me know if everybody's still able to hear me and that kind of stuff. We'll get started. Here we go. What cells in the liver are responsible for texylpercolloid uptake in the liver? All right, nice job. Those are the Kupffer cells. So the hepatocytes are responsible for the meropenem uptake for converting bilirubin to bile. Kupffer cells are the cells that basically they do this, phagocytosis, and they take up the sulfur-colloid. Let's see who is at the top. Beta positive, followed by Connor, Megan. And some people are brave using their real names. Great. And MJ. Here we go. And also, the faster you answer, the more points you get. And there are some math questions, and those questions will have more time allotted. So don't feel stressed if you need a little bit of extra time. They'll have extra time on those questions. How many isotopes of technetium are there? Trivia. It should say stable isotopes. Oops. How many stable isotopes of technetium? All right, that one was my fault because that was a typo. It should have said how many stable isotopes of technetium are there. And this is a trivia question. A lot of people don't know this. There are 0 stable isotopes of technetium. All isotopes of technetium are radioactive. And so I need to fix that for the next time. All right, that changed things. AP is number 1. H.H. Nuke Skywalker. Love the name. Asia and Gamma Gal. I like that. What radiopharmaceutical is used for a dual-phase parathyroid study? Wow, look at that. All right, we're all ready to take our boards. Did you see how fast everybody answered that? Excellent job. Let's see what happens to our leaderboard. AP is staying on top. Asia, HH, Megan, and Nuke Skywalker. Look at Dumbledore up 3 spots. All right, true or false? In most stable elements, the number of protons exceeds the number of neutrons. That is false. That is false. Think of it as the neutrons have to hold the protons together. All right, so the protons are all positive. They're all repelling each other. It's not true, actually. It's just a good way of remembering it, okay? So there are always going to be more neutrons than protons because the neutrons have to come in and hold the protons together. All right, here we go. HH, Nuke Skywalker, Connor, Beta Positive, and JoJo. The Enola Gay, the plane that dropped the atomic bomb, was named by the pilot. Who was it named after? Trivia. Exu was named after his mother. He named his plane after his mom. His mom's name was Enola Gay. All right. Trivia is the great equalizer. So let's see what happens. Oh, Nuke Skywalker. When you have that little flame next to you, I think that means you're doing really well. Connor, Curious. Oh, I've never seen that before. I like that. Goober and Bree. You just wanted me to say Goober. Okay, here we go. Next question. What was the first lab the Curies worked in called? Another trivia. The trivia front. Ooh, almost even, but a few more people had the correct answer. It was called the Shed. It's called the Shed. And it leaked, and it was awful, and they didn't give them a whole lot of money, but they kept working day and night, and they discovered radium and polonium. All right. Ooh, Nuke Skywalker's still on top. Goober, T, Prospecta, and Rick Dog. Good job, Rick Dog. All right, what is this? All right, atrial fibrillation. Most of you got that. That is correct. So no distinct P waves. The atria are just fibrillating. Let's see what happened. Okay, Nuke Skywalker, Goober, Rick Dog, CanScan, and Ellie. I think I know Ellie. What is the correct reading if your meter is set on times 10? MR per hour. Good job. Yes. All right. Megan, highest climber. We've got Goober on top, Nuke Skywalker, Rick Dog, Ellie, and you Glow Girl. I like that. You guys are so creative. Our field is in good hands. What is the name of this artifact? Yes, that is the star artifact caused by septal penetration of the high energy photons going right through the septum, causing that star artifact. And oh, Nora's back in the game with 3 in a row. Other than that, we didn't change the leaderboard at all. Calculate your DPMs. Your whites are 1225, background 395, efficiency 56%. Okay, 1482. Majority got that. Excellent. So counts minus background divided by efficiency. All right, Nuke Skywalker back on top. Ellie giving him a run for his money. Goober, you Glow Girl, Rick Dog. 10 participants have an answer streak of 4. You guys are smart. This is a 6-second strip. How would you describe this? Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 beats. 5 times 10 is 50. 50 is less than 60. That is bradycardia. Many of you said normal sinus rhythm. Bradycardia. All right. What happened? Ooh, you Glow Girl. Tony has 7 in a row. I think we've only asked like 7 questions. CanScan and Ellie. Which SNMITS president passed away while serving? He was also an educator. Trivia. scholarship named after him, a student scholarship called the Paul Cole Scholarship. We give out about 10 or 12 of them every year. They're $1,000 scholarships for students named after Paul Cole. He was the president of the technologist section when he passed away, and so the technologist section made a scholarship in his name. All right, let's see what happened. Nuke Skywalker still in first. He's going to be hard to catch. Tony, Can Stan, Ellie, and Lead Pig Pappy. All right, I said it. Here we go. When an incident photon is completely absorbed by an atom and an inner shell electron is ejected. All right, photoelectric effect. Yes, photon in, electron out. Since the inner shell electron, it required all of its energy. And so there's no energy left over. Photoelectric effect. Okay, Nuke Skywalker. Tony's getting close to Nuke. Ellie's been in it the whole time. Can Scan, and You Glow Girl. History of diabetes and open sore on the left great toe. What is like most likely diagnosis? It's hot on all three phases. Yes, look at that, osteomyelitis. Cellulitis would only be hot on the first two phases. Osteomyelitis is going to be hot on the third phase, also known as the skeletal phase. Okay, and, Ellie's in second. MJ just climbed. All right, it's a tight game. What two scientific fields did Marie Curie win Nobel Prizes? Another trivia. Good. Wow, I'm impressed. Chemistry and physics. Excellent. And, all right, Nuke and Ellie holding the top two. Can Stan, You Glow Girl, and Goober. 29 of you have an answer streak of 3. Molly Tech is an example of what type of equilibrium? In. Look at that. Nice job. And no change in the leaderboard. What is the dose in megabecquerels of sulfur colloid for a gastric emptying study? Ooh, that was a tough one. So, we know it's about 1 millicurie, and 1 millicurie is equivalent to 37 megabecquerels. So 20 to 40 is the best answer. All right, let's see what happened here. Uh-oh, Nuke Skywalker is still in first. Ellie, Can Scan, You Glow Girl. Calculate the gallbladder ejection fraction. Excellent. Most of you got that. Full minus empty divided by full. Or as The student said the other day, big minus small divided by big. All of that works. All right, so let's see what happens here. Nuke Skywalker still in first. Ellie, you glow girl, JoJo, and EMGC. What quality control procedure are these used for? Oh, look at that. Yes, that's again only if your employer likes you. Will they buy you these so you can do your linearity in 15 minutes instead of 4 days? Excellent. Let's see what happened. No change, but 9 participants have an answer streak of 7. That is really good. What is the most common crystal material used in gamma cameras? Very good. Look at that. We almost had a perfect score on that one. There's so many people on here, I don't think we could get a perfect score. But man, that is really close. Sodium iodide doped with thallium. Thallium is put in there to increase the conversion efficiency of the photons to light. And no change. We need a trivia question, I think. Which is not a type of isobaric decay? Yes, look at that, alpha emission. Beta positive, beta negative electron capture both have either a proton turning into a neutron or a neutron turning into a proton, which means A, the mass number stays the same. No change. What was the first year the NMTCB offered the CNMT exam on a computer? Ah, 1996. And you might be asking, Sybil, how do you know that? Well, because that is the year that I obtained my certification, and I was the first class to take it on a computer. Okay, let's see if that changes things. Just a little bit, just a little bit. EMGC and JoJo rounding out the top 5. What is the minimum amount of whole body radiation exposure where radiation sickness will occur? Rem. I've also seen 100 rem, so anywhere between 100 and 200 rem is the correct answer. Great job. Let's see what happens here. Uh-oh. Ellie didn't answer quite as quickly. You glow, girl. What is the last image shown? Ooh, that is the LAO. LAO. If you outline the lobes, knowing that this is an anterior image, if you outline the lobes, you can see that that left lobe is going to be a little bit bigger in that last image, meaning this is the LAO. Alright, that was hard. Nuke Skywalker has the highest answer streak of 16. Which image is consistent with thyroiditis? Yes, it was the last image there. Let's see what happened. Oh, a little bit of a change. Nuke Skywalker. Somebody's got to get Nuke. Nuke, nuke. The world's first artificial reactor, known as the Pile, was located in which city? Would be Chicago, downtown Chicago. All right. Oh, yep, that changes things. JoJo is in second. Threatening nuke. EMGC, Ellie, and you go, girl. Which method is more sensitive for a vesicoureteral reflux study? Yes, direct method. Almost everybody got that. Nice. And no change. What is this anatomical variant called? Yes, horseshoe kidney. All right. All right, beta positive, 3 in a row. Back in the game. How much Molly is allowed in a Tech 99M dose for patient use? Ooh, it's at the time of administration, not the time of elution. All right, sometimes answering fast can get you in trouble. Let's see, Ellie's moved up a little bit. Nuke, JoJo, and Ellie. Jamie's back in the game with 3 in a row. What type of graph paper should be used when plotting linearity? Yes, semi-log paper. Semi-log. Ellie's going to catch Nuke. What bone cells are responsible for uptake of MDP? Osteoblasts. Good. And JoJo and Ellie trying to get Nuke. What is this called? Yes, that is the photomultiplier tube. Oh, Ellie and JoJo keep going back and forth. Madame Curie. I didn't realize Madame Curie was here. 3 in a row. What is the target heart rate for a 65-year-old patient being stressed on a treadmill? Minus age times 0.85 comes out to 132. And no change. How many pixels in a 128 by 128 matrix? Excellent. 128 times 128 is 16,384. Oh, okay. All right. JoJo and Ellie keep going back and forth. Combo breaker. 3 participants just hit their answer streak of 7. Radiochromatography is used to test kits after preparation. What type of test is this? Ooh, Ooh, radiochemical purity is radiochromatography. And, oh, hello, JoJo, Ellie. I knew Nuke was going down. You glow girl. Nuke just had too strong of a start. Which of the following is not a type of probe used with a GM meter? Right, the inner window. Side window is a probe. End window, pancake. Inner window. Just made that up. All right, Ellie's on top. EMGC. Nuke's not giving up. JoJo and Spicy Air. This is a toxic adenoma of the thyroid. Why is there only faint visualization of the rest of the thyroid? Low TSH. The rest of the thyroid is being suppressed by low TSH. That adenoma is making a lot of thyroid hormone. That changed some things. Ellie, JoJo, Spicy Air, EMGC, and Luda. And then Bree has a comeback of 3 in a row. If you use a GM meter that's calibrated with cesium-137, it will overestimate the tech readings. That is actually true. That's true, and we're okay with that because we want it to be very sensitive. So we're okay with it being overestimated. And so you calibrate it with cesium-137, you get an over response. And that changed a few things. Ellie, EMGC, JoJo, Nuke Skywalker, and Spicy Air. Oh, Cutie Pie's here. How many agreement states are there? There are 39. A lot of you got that. I'm impressed. You must have some great educators out there. Let's see what happened. Okay, Nuke Skywalker is still on the board. Spicy Air, JoJo, EMGC, Ellie's on top. According to the NRC, a diagnostic radiopharmaceutical administered to a patient must be plus or minus 20% of the prescribed amount. That is true. You guys don't even have to think about that. Yep, that is it. Ellie has the flame next to her. 16 in a row. Didn't even miss the trivia questions. Followed by EMGC, JoJo, Spicy Air, and Nuke Skywalker. What area of the gas ionization curve does the dose calibrator reside? Excellent, ionization chamber, and we are about halfway, so there is still time. Still time. Nuke Skywalker in 4th. 6 participants have answer string of 4. F-18 decays via positron emission. What is the daughter product? O18, isomeric transition, has to be 18, or isobaric transition. All right, Ellie, EMGC, JoJo, Spicy Air, and Luda. What adjunctive medication may be given to a patient prior to whole body scanning for thyroid cancer spread? That is Thyrogen. Ooh, that was good. Very close. All right. What disease does this image depict? Osteitis deformans. It's another word for Paget's. Now everybody's mad at me because you all know it was Paget's. Osteitis deformans. All right, that might change some things. It didn't, but Hot Sharps has the highest answer streak of 12. Top 5 missed that. That's opening the door. 6-hour decay factor for I-123 is about 0.73. True or false? Is true. Guys were quick. And no real change. 3 participants have an answer streak of 6. These are TechMA particles on the hemocytometer. What is the recommended particle size for TechMA? The 90 microns. Ooh, we almost got a perfect score there. All right, no change because everybody got that. What radiopharmaceutical was used to make this image? Yes, tilmanocept, also known as Lymphoseek. No change. CanScan is back in the game though. Which will reduce exposure more, doubling the distance or adding 1/2 value layer? Doubling the distance, yes. Reduce it down to 1/4. All right, Nuke Skywalker is back on the board. Ellie's still on top. Norm is making a comeback with 3 in a row. There's still time. The lung scan is done using Xenon and TechMA. Which study should be done first? Xenon, almost a perfect score on this one. All right, Luda's on the board now, and Sav is making a comeback. What is the maximum occupation exposure for the fetus of a declared pregnant worker over the gestational period? Milliround, 500 milliround. And no change, but JP is making a comeback with 3 in a row. What is the wall of the heart the red arrow is pointing to? It is the lateral wall. Remember Sally. Okay, 11 participants have an answer streak of 6. Ellie is staying on top. EMGC is right behind. A vial contains 375 millicuries of Techne 0.2 ml. You need 20 millicuries. How many mLs? Our conversion here is 375 millicuries equals 8.2 ml. So we would take 20 millicuries times 8.2 divided by 375. And Nuke Skywalker, CanScan is on the board. Nice. Calculate the radiochemical period of TechMA if the background is 120. Ooh, well, it is 99%. So what you had to do was you had to subtract 120 from both. And you're looking for the radiochemical period of TEC-MAA. So 884,000 divided by 884,000 plus 6,200. Of course, after you subtract background, and it comes out to 99%. All right. Okay, hot sharps. I think that's the first time we've seen hot sharps today. Ellie's still on top. According to the package insert for UltraTag, you should use ACD or heparin when you collect the patient's blood. That is true, yes. There's a really good JNMT article that did a study on that. We should look it up. Excellent. All right, no change, but 5 participants have an answer streak of 10. Convert 50 millicuries to megabecquerels. All right, very good. 1,850. 1 millicuries, 37 megabecquerels. All right, Arden's coming back with 3 in a row. I think I know Arden. Ellie, EMGC, Nuke Skywalker, Hot Sharps, and JoJo. What label should be used for a package with a transport index of 0.08 and a surface reading of 2? Yellow 2. Remember, white 1 does not have a transport index. All right, Michaela is making a comeback. EMGC, Ellie's in second, Hot Sharps, Nuke Skywalker, and JoJo. What is the dose of acetazolamide used in brain perfusion imaging? Yes, it's 1 gram. Only 13 people got that. This is going to change some things. 1,000 milligram or 1 gram. Let's see what happens here. All right, Nuke Skywalker went down to 5th. JoJo's in 4th. Hot Sharps, Ellie, and EMGC. All right, that was a tough round. What is the quarterly Alera 1 level for the whole body? $25 milligram, yep, 10% of the quarterly limit. All right, Ellie's back on top. EMGC, Hot Sharps has a flame next to them. JoJo and Nuke Skywalker. What government agency is responsible for labeling and packaging requirements for shipping radioactive material? DOT. I couldn't throw you off with this picture here, could I? No, you know it's the DOT. Excellent. All right, Hot Sharps has an answer streak of 27. Hot Sharps needs to take their boards. What radiopharmaceutical is used when performing a DAT scan? Yes, ioflupane. Almost everybody got that correct. And no change. Big Brims back in the game with 3 in a row. What is the only nuclide that has more protons than neutrons? Protium. Rhodium only has one proton, no neutrons, mass number of 1. Deuterium, 1 proton, 1 neutron, mass number of 2. Tritium, 1 proton, 2 neutrons, mass number of 3. All right, and I made up selenium. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, Koi is on the board. Ellie, EMGC, Hot Sharps, and JoJo, and Can't Scam, hanging in there. Convert 5 rems to sieverts. All right, 0.05, 100 gram is 1 sievert. And JoJo answered that very quickly. Emery D making a comeback with 3. Still time. Which of the following can be used for ictal SPECT imaging? Yes, HMPAO. All right, EMGC and JoJo going back and forth. Pixel Perfect. Oh, I love that. 3 in a row. What is a normal GFR level? Yes, 120 ml per minute. And no change. Kennedy B up 5 places though. SNMI changed its name in 2012. What was its name before the change? Oh, the further we get from 2012, the more people don't know this. It was the SNM. We just added MI. All right, McKenna coming back. When imaging the thyroid with a pinhole collimator, what happens to the size of the thyroid is the camera moves closer to the patient. Yes, thyroid's going to get larger as it comes closer. Glow Getter. Oh, I like that too. Glow Getter has an answer streak of 3. Patient was injected with TECMA-A and a whole body scan was done. What would cause activity to be seen in the brain? Right to left cardiac shunt. Excellent. 13 participants have an answer streak of 5. Very nice. Ellie's still in first. EMGC close behind. What type of medication is used to reverse the effects of dobutamine? Yes, the beta blocker keeps the heart rate low. And Hot Sharps moves into third. And Unclear Medicine is back in the game. MA kit has 4 million particles, 50 millicuries, 5 ml. 4 millicurie dose, how many particles? quick on that. Take your 4 millicuries. Your conversion in this case is 4 million particles equals 50 millicuries. So 4 millicuries times 4 million particles divided by 50 millicuries gives you 320,000 particles. And no change. In 2010, the SMITS had a campaign addressing the lack of a domestic supply of technetium. What was the campaign slogan? GotTech. Same time as the Dairy Association was doing their campaign on Got Milk. So at that time, we had a severe shortage of technetium, so we had a campaign that was called GotTech, and we made a map that had the world that showed all of the reactors and none of them in the U.S. That's still the case. All right, let's see what happens. Trivia is a great equalizer. Didn't change anybody this time. All right, which of the following is not a radiopharmaceutical used for Alzheimer's disease? Excellent. Appeared as, or as I like to call them, Flurpees. Okay, 3 in a row. Cage is back in the game. Several questions left. What view is this? That is the LPO. No hard shadow, so I know it's left and right. So all I have to do is figure out which one's bigger. The left is bigger, left posterior oblique. And all 5 missed that. According to NRC 10 parts 35, you must measure moly contamination in each generator eluate. True. There was a short period of time where it was changed to only after the first. So if you're studying from any old materials, be careful with that. Ooh, that changed some things. LE JoJo, EMGC, Koyan, and Hot Sharps. Which was commercially available first, Sestamib or Tetrafosmid? Sestamib, look at that, it's almost 50-50. I think I briefly mentioned it yesterday. So yeah, Sestamib. Now, why would you know that, Sybil? Well, because I was around when Sestamib first came out. Ooh, it's going to come down to the wire here. D is back with an answer streak of 3. All of the following cancers spread to the bones except. Liver. And Coy moves into second. Hot Sharps. Ellie's holding on to first. And Rankin is back in the game. Patient is diagnosed with PE. What would have what appearance on ventilation images? Is going to be normal. And no change. 2 patients are diagnosed with Graves' disease, which will be treated with the higher dose of I-131. everybody's stumped. So patient A only has a 38% uptake, so it's not going to take as much up, and as much of a percentage. So we need to give patient A more than patient B. Patient B is going to take up 74% of whatever you give them. You don't have to give them as much. So it's just the opposite of what you would think. Let's see what that did. It didn't change anything, but it looks like Ellie got that one right. What is this band of tissue called? It's called the isthmus. It's fun to say. So I put that question in there so I could say it. Spicy Air's in the top 5. All right, there's still time. Connor's back with an answer streak of 3. How often should you check the battery on your GM meter? It's daily. Ooh, almost everybody got that one. That is daily. No change. Change is making you come back with 3 in a row. Which of the following is not a vasodilator used in NPI? Yes, that would be dobutamine. And no change, but Rankin has 3 in a row. You left. Which radiopharmaceutical is almost exclusively excreted through the glomerular filtration? This BTPA. Down to the end here. All right. Jamie is back with 3 in a row. Ellie, Coy, Hot Sharps, JoJo, and Spicy Air. Technologists must personally direct assay their dose in a dose calibrator prior to administration. True or false? That is actually false. According to the NRC, if you do not manipulate your dose in any way and you get all unit doses from the pharmacy, you can trust the pharmacist's calibration, but you do have to decay correct it. Oh, that could change some things. Yeah. Oh, Hot Sharps moves into second. Coy, JoJo, and Nuke Skywalker is not giving up. What is the total dose of CCK for a patient weighing 145 pounds? Okay, 145 divided by 2.2 puts it in kilograms times 0.02. And no change. 2 questions left. Biological half-life of Tekimane is 3 hours. What is the effective half-life? It's going to be 2 hours. Last question coming up. Let's see what happens. True or false? A patient with renal artery stenosis will have a normal baseline renogram. That is true. All right, moment of truth. Here we go. Third place is Roy. Second, Hot Sharps. First is Ellie. Excellent. And then running out the top 5, JoJo. Let's see who that other person was. All right. excellent job today. If you were one of the top 3, please send me an email so I can send you your gift card. Again, thank you for joining us. This was a fun 2 days. I had a blast. I don't know about you guys. I had a great time. Feel free to go on the website, send me a review. I'd appreciate that. If you'd like to join us again in July, it's going